find out. Everything runs through
TechNTortillas.
Everything runs through
TechNTortillas.
All right. Boys, welcome to Rolling in Dough, Week 9 college football picks. We got familiar faces and someone that's joining us again. Derek, how are you doing, man?
Doing good, guys. Happy to be back on. How are y'all doing tonight?
Hey, doing great. Thank you for always filling in at a moment's notice. We appreciate you. Dylan, how are you doing?
A little under the weather, but, toughing it out, seeing what we can do today.
Yeah, when you first jumped on in the pregame lobby with us, you talked and I giggled a little bit because you were squeaking. So we'll see how many squeaks we get during the course of this episode. And we have a phenomenal, not a celebrity guest picker. Fun fact, we actually all lived with this guy. So right now what you're going to get, or I guess not right now, a little bit later, you'll get roommates and two brothers. So it'll be a good reunion. Shout out to The Avenue, sponsored by The Avenue. Not really, though, but yeah, that's where we all roommates at. So with that, also missing Nick. So I have the telecoms that Nick's going to give me his picks. And so I'll get those in and ready once we get through the games.
Just make sure no one hacks those telecoms, Troy.
Listen, I don't know. I feel like somebody's watching me. I heard some footsteps in my house, so no promises. All right. Well, with that being said, last week was a little bit of a tough week for me. I was at 60% as of last week, and I was like Icarus. I flew too close to the sun and crashed and burned. 3-11. So hopefully I can bounce back. Bunches of losers. That's me, a big loser. Nick continued on his old ways, a little bit worse actually. Usually goes 500, but he gave us a 4-6 performance. And Dylan, tonnage, volume, ground and pound, 11-8. You're 61-52. I did the math. You're about at 53%, and I'm at 54%. So big week for you and beating me, and it's really close now. So it's gonna be a big week. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we always say water finds its level, and as you start picking more games, you're starting to find your level, and you're starting to come back to earth. And I just put out a lot of picks, and I just win. So over time, it will prove to be a victorious strategy for me.
Yeah, you are a big volume guy, and I tried to be a volume guy last week, and that was a terrible decision on my part. Lost damn near everything. So, and my team lost, and A&M won, and so that was just a bad day for me, honestly. So I'd like to get over it and move on and get into this week. Any thoughts on that?
Some weeks are good, some weeks are bad. I mean, that's all I got.
Derek, you weren't on the show last week, but did you make any picks?
I did not know. I have a feeling if I did, it wouldn't have gone too well. I usually follow Dylan.
Yeah, you usually do. Well, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get into a lot of great games this week. So we'll start with one of the biggest ones of them all, the Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio State's favored by 3 with an over and under 45.5. Interestingly enough, neither of these teams are at the top of their conference. You actually have Indiana and Oregon leading the way. So this is honestly a really big game. And while, yes, both of them are ranked extremely high. Oregon edges them out a little bit, but this will be big going down the stretch because they still have quite a few undefeated teams in that conference. So with that being said, Dylan, how's this one going to play out?
So I have futures on this Ohio State team to win the Big Ten. So this game makes me very nervous. James Franklin historically is not very good against Ohio State, but to be 100% honest, this feels like their best shot at Ohio State. That being said, because I already have a commitment to them, I'm going to take Ohio State -3. I like that it's at 3 now because I can get a push. This just feels like a field goal game. And I'll tell you what, I love that it's during the day and not at nighttime. I would be very nervous if this was a night whiteout kick at Penn State.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. We'll see. Another big game for both of these coaches who don't perform very well in big games. You also have you have Will Howard, who's obviously very experienced, and Will Howard has shown that he's pretty consistent in general. And so 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year. So he's pretty consistent. So it'll be very interesting. Derek, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
So I went to the Wisconsin-Penn State game last week. Penn State struggled against a pretty bad Wisconsin team for, I think, 3 quarters or into the start of the 4th quarter. That being said, I think it's pretty hard not to take Penn State as an underdog at home. So give me Penn State +3.
Penn State plus the 3. Yeah, I worry about Penn State's weapons and how they'll be able to exploit Ohio State. And I'm not sure if they will be able to. So I'm going to rock with Dylan, Ohio State -3. And I'm also going to take the over and under. I know I just kind of contradicted what I said, but I think in games like this, they'll both find a way to score. And if they don't, it could be an overtime game. 45 is just not that many. It opened up at 47. There's probably a reason it's being bet down, obviously, right? So I could definitely be on the wrong side of this one. So we'll see what happens. But go ahead and give me the over 45.5 and Ohio State to cover -3. Our guy Ryan Day can't have 2 big losses on the season. Awesome. Well, with that, we'll get into the next game. ACC game, Duke versus number 5 Miami. Miami is favored by 20 in this one with an over-under 54.5. So pretty big game. Derek, what are your thoughts with this one?
So I still don't really like this Miami team. I still think they're frauds. So give me the over 54.5. I don't know if they're going to cover that 20, though. It's a lot of points.
Yeah. 20 is a lot of points. Duke is 6-2 on the year. So quite a bit of disrespect, I think. Dylan, how's this one going to play out?
So I agree with Derek in the standpoint of I don't think this Miami team is as good as their ranking would indicate. And to your point, you're saying Duke's getting a little disrespected with that record, but that record is what it is because this ACC is weak. It's pretty easy. The schedules have been nothing too difficult for a lot of these teams at the top. So I think that carries into this game. I think Miami takes care of business against Duke. I'll take Miami -20, and I'll take the over 54.5. I think they cover the number and score a lot of points here.
Yeah, Dylan, as you were saying that, I was actually pulling up the team totals because I worry about Duke's ability to score. And so Miami's at 37.5, Duke's at 16.5. So I'm going to go ahead and take Miami's team total over 37.5. And I'll also, it looks like their first half over is not listed. But I'll also take Miami to cover the spread in the first half. No, I won't. So I'll just take their team total 37.5 in this one. I do worry about Duke's ability to score, so I just don't trust that total at 54.5. I think Cam Ward's going to keep pouring it on. He's having a Heisman type season, and they can really start running away with the ACC. Well, they already kind of have, but Clemson's obviously in the league too. But this is a big game that they can't lose in order to stay at the top of the ACC. So I think they're going to be scoring some points. All righty. Next, we got number 19 Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Ole Miss is favored by 7.5 with an over/under 54.5. I'll get us started in this one. Both teams have seemed like they've played pretty good defense this year, and Ole Miss seems like they've been pretty good, but I just don't know if I think 7.5 is a whole touchdown in an SEC game. I really like Arkansas in this spot at home as a home dog. I'm not going to pick them outright, but I do like them to be able to cover 7.5. I think they're going to be able to keep it close enough at home in this one. So I'm leaning towards the under 2. I'm not going to make a pick there, but I'll go ahead and snag Ole Miss or Arkansas 7.5. Derek.
So to me, this game kind of has the feeling that Ole Miss is going to blow it. So give me the Hogs money line. And I also have a weird feeling that the over is going to hit too. So give me the over 53.5 as well.
I like it. I like it a lot. Dylan?
Really like the Arkansas quarterback.
Yeah, hopefully I know he's been banged up a little bit this year, but I can't remember if they're coming off a bye this week, but hopefully he shows up and shows out.
Well, you know what Ole Miss has coming up on their schedule next week? Georgia.
Look ahead spot.
And they're already thinking about it. They're already talking about it. Lane and the boys are already looking at that game. They're sleeping on this Arkansas team. This is a good Arkansas team. To your point, Troy, it's a home game, too. They're going to be definitely up for this one. And I originally had Arkansas plus 7.5. I'm going to take that. I'm also going to take Arkansas money line. I think they can win this one outright. With Ole Miss, really looking forward to next week. And I'll take over 54.5. We'll take all three.
Holy smokes. That's the volume Dylan right there, man. He picks them all and he doesn't shy away from a fight. Sorry about that. I'm getting some voices in telecom, helmet comm. I didn't give any of Nick's picks, so let me go back and run that. So Nick, okay, that's right. Nick says Penn State +3. All right, I like it, Nick. Contradicting a lot of people on this team. All right, next for Duke versus Miami, Nick has the over. Not a surprise there. Nick's a big over guy. And for this one, guess what he has? The over. Not a surprise. Over Nicky Double Downs, Mr. Over Machine. All right, well, with that, we'll get into the next game. I like this one. You got our old friend, familiar foe, Tyler Shuck and Louisville going into number 11 Clemson. Clemson's favored by 10.5 with an over under 63.5. Dylan, kick us off.
The ACC is not that good. There's a couple teams that are very good at the top of the conference, and they're on a crash course to play each other. And because of that, they're just going to have to run through their schedule with ease. Give me Clemson minus 10.5. Give me Clemson first half minus 6.5. And I'll take the over 63.5. I think Clemson just runs away with this game. They're head and shoulders above the rest of the ACC.
Dang. Derek?
Yes, I'm with Dylan. I don't think Clemson's getting enough credit right now. Give me Clemson 10.5.
Holy smokes, fellas. You almost really like Clemson. They have really shown a lot of improvement over the course of the year. And it's been impressive, right? They had to play, Georgia in their first game, and that didn't go as planned. Louisville has pretty much lost to every tough team in their conference outside of Clemson, and now they get the chance to do that. In those games, they've kept it relatively close, about a touchdown spread. So, Dylan, you mentioned already there's two really good teams in this conference. They're on a crash course. So when they played against Miami, there were a bunch of points scored. And I just think Louisville's frisky enough to be able to score against them. We have the list over-under listed at 63.5. It's really tough, right? That has a lot of touchdowns. I'll go ahead and say that's going to happen. And I'm also going to take Louisville to cover. They've shown that they can stay in games. And I wouldn't be surprised, Dylan, if you're right, they could be down multiple scores, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get a backdoor cover if they're losing by 17 and get a touchdown to make it 10. So I like that shot. I think their offense is frisky enough to keep them in it. And then also I think there's an opportunity for a backdoor cover. They've shown that they can stay in games. They don't really get blown out. So that's how I think this one's going to play out. Nick actually is rocking with you and Derek. He's got Clemson minus 10.5. And with that, we got another ACC game. Holy smokes. So we got number 18 Pittsburgh versus number 20 SMU. SMU is going to be favored by 7.5 with an over under 58.5. Derek, go ahead and tell me how this is going to play out.
Well, I honestly don't know too much about either of these teams, so go ahead and give me the home team, SMU, at 7.5.
You got it. Dylan?
I was very strategic with what I said earlier on the ACC being very weak, except for 2 teams on a crash course. And that's because you have 2 teams like this that look good but are beating up on a bunch of bad teams. And one of these 2 teams is a very fortunate team to be where they're at. I'm going to go ahead and take SMU minus 7.5 at home because first glance you look at this line, you would think it doesn't make much sense, but it's a testament to what Pitt really is versus what their record says they are. So I'll take SMU minus 7.5, and I'll take the over 58.5. I think SMU wins this one big.
Good call, Dill. I too am going to take SMU. I actually see it at 7 right now. I don't know if we want to shift that, but I'll let you make that call, Dill.
I'll take it if it's available.
I'm on my website right now because I'm pulling their team total. Yeah, so it is available. It's at 7, so we'll go ahead and flip that to 7. We'll be generous to us, and I'm actually going to take SMU's total over as well, 31.5. That's 4 touchdowns and the field goal. So I don't
31.5.
Yeah.
All right, I'm adding that too.
All right. We don't get there. We have a hook against us, but I think they'll be fine. SMU, I think, has been showing that, they are the better of the 2 teams. This will be the first game where, this is probably one of the bigger matches in conference play, which, a couple of them have played tough teams, but this will be a good match. So let's see points and let's dance. But with that being said, Nick has Pitt plus. We'll let him keep the hook, 7.5.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we have our not a celebrity guest picker. We go way back with this guy, all the way back to a part of. We didn't go to the same high school, but we met in high school, working at a grocery store. So our good friend, Colin. Let's get him in here. Colin, welcome to Rolling in Dough, presented by TechNTortillas. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome.
Love the headset.
Hey, yeah, you just got to make sure that we're safe, sound, with everything that's going around recently. Just want to wear protection and make sure that our picks are getting in the right way. I got a couple chips in here so that they won't get taken, especially after last week. I had a down week and went 3-11, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was because I was bugged.
I would check that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to have the Big 12 look into Dylan specifically. I think he cheated last week. So, guys, say hi to Colin.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, man. All right, Colin. So I know you're familiar with this show. Each of us is going to ask you a question, and then we'll let you give your picks, and then we'll go into the big game of the week, the Texas Tech game. But with that being said, I'm going to hand it off to Dylan to allow him to let you ask the first question.
All right, Colin. Dylan here with TechNTortillas. Always good to see your face. I got a quick question, just kind of going to give you 3 things. Want you to rank them. Rank these in the order from best to worst. Wedding day, birth of your child, Thursday night color rush with the boys.
Wow.
Having a few pictures.
This is the trust tree, right?
Wait.
Okay.
Dude, where at?
Oh, Troy, you know where at.
Well,
The only place there is blue sky.
can you? So, I think it's only right that this is in my head, I'm thinking of a color rush of Jaguars Dolphins.
Oh, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah. So, remember the Jags had the gold.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mustard.
The
yeah,
mustard gold.
yeah. So I would say number 1 is birth of the child. You got to put that number 1. But hear me out on number 2. I think blue sky. We're talking some colors. 2 below average NFL teams. Give me that. I got married during COVID, so it wasn't this grand party. That you think of in your head. So there's the rankings for you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. Nothing better than watching 2 AFC South teams usually fight it out or something on Color Rush Thursday.
The Jets tried to bring it back yesterday with all black. I was a fan. So, anyhow, good question.
Yeah, Dill, that may have been the best question of the year. Really well done. You must have been thinking about that one for a while. Derek, we kind of threw you into this. So, what question you got for Colin?
Well, yeah, so I definitely did not come prepared with a question. But Colin, I don't know if the viewers know yet, but we're all former roommates, and you kind of got into some antics while we lived there. I need you to tell the viewers about the time you stuck your head in the freezer.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was gonna bring it up in like a very subtle way, but you just went right on there. So I'll keep it short, but I guess the story is I think we were playing beer pong or maybe just like some orange juice in there maybe But anyhow, when we were playing and sometimes you're on a heater, right? And that was me that night, and I kind of need to cool down a little bit. It's kind of unfair to the other team and all the other teams that kept playing us, and so had to stick my head in the freezer and just had to cool off a little bit. It was a good run though. Yeah.
Yeah, Colin, those were really good times, and I remember that like it was yesterday. We always kept a freezer on deck just in case Colin got too hot, which was awesome. Hey, Colin, Troy DeMincher, TechNTortillas. Glad to have you on the show. I think I have a couple of questions, but the first one being, what's it like to be better than probably 99% of the people you know at golf?
Oh, I would say this. The funny dynamic in golf is that, when you're growing up, golf is so lame. It's like everyone's plays football in Texas, got baseball, basketball. And I loved basketball, but I was just a way better golfer. And now it's come full circle where, all the guys who played maybe college baseball or whatever, they're really good at sports. Now they're the ones struggling in golf and have these like nasty slices and everything and the baseball swings and all that. So, no, it is good. But but I've been humbled. I have lost the club championship this year, so I got to get back on the wagon. Yeah, so it's you say that, but I might be like 97% now, so I gotta work on my game a little bit.
Colin, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I didn't know you had lost that title. I know there was a time and place for another person in this room's wedding, Derek's, where we went to Derek's bachelor party with all of us, and they were considering moving the tournament championship so that you could still play in it.
Yep, that was the last time I won. Was the year before that. So I'm on a. I blame the kids though. The kids. Yeah, it's an easy. Just say that. I think it's not my fault. Yeah,
the new generation. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn kids.
Also, justice for the baseball swings.
Say that again.
Justice for the baseball swings. We deserve love too. We're trying.
Yeah, if y'all have a slice really bad, but once you make contact, I mean,
it's gone.
It's going 300 plus easy. Yeah, you got the speed.
Last question. You brought up, or Dylan brought up marriage. Can you tell me a little bit how you and your wife met?
Yeah, it was I was in college, and there was maybe there's someone on this call. I don't know who, but maybe. Well, that's up for debate. But anyways, they were saying it was her birthday and that we should bring her flowers. And I was like, I don't even know this person. Why would I bring her flowers? And I met her on her birthday, and now we're married with 2 kids. And even now to this day, I asked her, I'm like, that would have been so weird if I'd have brought you flowers, like a random guy. And she was like, yeah.
Hey, my bad. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Derek,
you
good
said
call, Derek.
Yeah. You set us up, but I had to, kind of do it my own way a little bit there too,
Yeah, I can't fly the plane for you. Can't drive the car. You can hit the driver.
Sorry.
But with that being said, we're gonna let you, start making your picks. First one, biggest game of the week. Colin, get into it. Ohio State versus Penn State. What do you got?
So, out of all the games we'll go over, this is the one I feel most confident about. Penn State just doesn't win the big one, right? They always lose to Michigan when they were really good. They always lose to Ohio State. This sounds like a hot take, but if this line was 6.5, I would still take Ohio State. I like Ohio State a lot in this game, and that's the only reason. Penn State just doesn't win the big one.
Dang. Well, a lot of people would say Ohio State doesn't win the big one under Ryan Day too. So you got a game of people who can't win the big ones.
That's a good point. But his big one is like Michigan.
Yeah,
That's
this
for
isn't
me.
a big one for them.
Yeah, exactly. This is just a Big Ten matchup. Yeah.
Un poquito papas fritas. Small potatoes. Maybe I said that backwards. I don't know. With that, we'll go to the next game. We got Duke versus number 5 Miami. Miami's favored by 20.
I heard y'all talk about this game before I hopped on, and I think I just look at that number, 20. I'm like, wow, that's a big number. And that's honestly, and I feel like I think Miami's a really good team. I think they're a playoff team. They're going to win this game, but give me Duke plus 20. I'll take Duke. I don't know much about Duke, but I feel like they've hung around in a lot of games lately. So yeah, give me Duke plus 20.
I like it. We'll see if Miami's able to put a team to bed. Who knows? Alrighty. Next, we got an SEC matchup: Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Ole Miss might already be looking ahead to Dylan's point. What do you got?
I was another good point by Dylan. Especially in college football, I feel like you definitely look forward to, you look ahead on those big games, right? So, Ole Miss, I mean, they've kind of stumbled in a couple of games, right? So I really pondered this one for, a few seconds, but I just took the under. I just think that Arkansas, I watched that Tennessee-Arkansas game, and it was, just a dogfight the whole time. Ole Miss, first 3 games, they were just killing opponents, and then they started getting the SEC play and kind of went, back down to life. So just give me the under. I don't know. I think Ole Miss wins this game, but just the under.
Yeah, good pick. I like that. Ole Miss is a little bit overrated, I think. So maybe they come back to earth, and I hope they lose, to be honest. And next, we got Louisville versus Clemson. Clemson's favored by 10.5.
So, well, speaking of hoping people lose, I hope Louisville loses every game, so I'm on that train for sure. Clemson, I got a minus 10.5. I feel pretty confident about this one as well. Clemson, they remind me of Oregon's team last year where, week 1, Oregon played Georgia, got killed, and then they had a really good season. Clemson gets killed by Georgia week 1. I think I think they are the best team in the ACC by far. Give me Clemson minus 10.5.
Yeah, they've really rebounded and seemed to figure it out since then. It looks like I'm the Lone Ranger on Louisville in this one. So, I guess America loves Clemson. So hopefully you guys are idiots. We'll see, though. Although I'm the one wearing a helmet, so that's not great. Next, we got Pitt versus SMU. What do you got on this one, Colin?
The classic ACC matchup here. SMU is just one of those teams that they just been like finding ways to win these games. They've had a couple, impressive performances. I have Pitt plus 7.5. I think SMU wins the game outright, though. I think it's going to be a really good game, though. So I'll take plus 7.5 Pitt, but SMU will, I think, they'll win.
Very frisky. Very nice. Very nice. Against Dylan and I found one without the hook, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we all can win, or maybe push for Dylan and I's sake. But with that, Colin, great picks, man. I wish you the best of luck. The bar is actually Ken Bone, who went 5-2. So let's see if you can go undefeated or lose one game. And with that being said, let's get into the big game of the week. We got our Texas Tech Red Raiders versus Iowa State. Iowa State's actually favored by 13.5 with an over/under 56.5. Derek, I'm going to let you lead us off with this one.
Yeah, so to stick with the theme of the pod, I have a feeling that last week Tech was just looking ahead to Iowa State. So let's go ahead and go Tech over the Tech money line, and then Taj Brooks is going to have a huge day. We'll take Taj over 119.5. And then I'm so confident in Taj, we're going to do big money on anytime TD minus 210 for Taj.
Oh, man. Minus 210. That's a pretty penny not to win much.
So we're doing big money.
Burger.
We're doing big money.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh. Not a great return on investment. But with that, Colin, you go next.
Okay. Derek mentioned that Tech was looking ahead maybe to Iowa State. I don't think Tech should be looking ahead of any games. Like they should they should just, I don't care who they're playing. I mean, we saw that week 1, right? Yeah, I got the over, It's a 56.5. It's a big number, but it's a Big 12. I just think that Tech's defense is not going to get any stops. I didn't really want to pick Iowa State. I just felt weird doing that. So yeah, just fun game, the over. Let's do that.
Man, Colin, that was a little depressing.
All right.
I don't think Tech's going to get any stops. Dylan, make us happy.
Troy, I know you already have it. So what's the team total?
It's 21.5.
All right.
How do you know?
So here's the thing. We've all been talking about it. It would be very Tech to lose the last 2 games like we did and then win this game. You know what's going to happen. We're going to come back and beat Iowa State, and then we're going to be so mad that we blew last game and that we didn't show up for the Baylor game. Well, now that we know it was hacking our communication system, we understand that that's why it happened. But go ahead and give me Tech plus the 13.5. Texas Tech money line. Texas Tech first half plus 7, and Texas Tech team total over 21.5. It's a bloodbath. We win this game. Maybe it'll be a 60-plus yard field goal. I don't know. Who cares? We're going to win.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that a lot, Dill. Let the record show that my head's not that small. This is a replica helmet, and it's really big. I look like a little peewee football player in this thing. But with that,
Pee-wee Herman?
Pee-wee Herman. Look like Pee-wee Herman. I've gotten that a time or two in this helmet when I go out to the bars in it. With that being said, yeah, Tech needs to get right. And not a great opponent to do it against. Let's say that very loud and clear. You really need to beat Baylor and TCU, and you didn't. With that being said, I get that Iowa State's the best defense in the conference, but when haven't we scored 21 points? And so, man, I'm going to take the team total over 21.5. It might be kind of mucky weather, so maybe that doesn't happen. Derek, I'm also taking the Taj Brooks over 119, just in case it is a little more of a puncher's fight. I think there's going to be heavy usage of Taj because of time of possession, and we're going to need to really control time of possession if we want a chance to win. So maybe the over's not a great pick, but there's definitely a world where there could be a lot of points scored. I'm just going to go with ours because it's so low. For a Tech team. And the last thing I'll take is Tech 13.5. I think this game is one where you don't need to win it to feel great. You just need to have a great game. We are going to win it, but you can't get blown out here because if that happens, I wonder what happens to this team. So I think they go in after Helmet Gate. TCU cheated. Baylor cheated. Now that people don't have the ability to cheat anymore, I think we go in there and win this game. I'm not taking the money line, though. I'm just going to take us to cover 13.5 as well. So that's what I think is going to happen. Any final thoughts on the Tech game?
I got a final thought after the Tech game.
Go ahead.
Free one for the listeners. I'm a little disappointed in you, Troy, that there's a Service Academy game that we didn't pick this week. But guys, Service Academy unders, we always talk about it. Free money under 41.5 Army Air Force. Take it.
Except for it's not free money anymore. And with that being said, Nick, you there? Major Tom to ground control. Nick has Tech plus 13.5. All right. Well, that's our show for y'all today, guys. Thanks for listening. Drop a comment. Tell us what your best pick of the week is. Tell us who's going to win these games. And thank y'all for listening. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. Colin, thank you for joining us. Long time that we haven't seen each other, but we appreciate having you. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. With that being said, Recom.